Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Smash that like button for us. Hit the share button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. And the best thing you can do is hit the bell notification button right next to that subscribe button as well. That way, you're more likely to be told by YouTube when we go live or when we post content. It doesn't always quite work, but please give it a go. And if you enjoy the live chat, our live chat is always popping. I have to say that. Please download Flick right now. The Football Terrace community continues our conversations over there when these streams finish. We've got polls, new polls running this morning, new news articles as well. So make sure you get yourselves over there. Looking forward to seeing you. The sign-up code, as I say, is in our description below. Jadon Sancho update. Now, this morning I woke up. Man like Paul, big yourself up, bruv. I had about 5, 6, 7 DMs from viewers of the Football Terrace with this news about, I want to try and pronounce his name right. We know the surname is Jesus, but I think it's pronounced Reinier Jesus. Young attacking midfield player, plays centrally, plays out on the left-hand side for Real Madrid. There is talk for 4 or 5 days. There are more credible sources now speaking about Dortmund getting themselves into a position where they're going to be agreeing a 2-year loan. Interesting with no option to buy, which clearly tells you that Real Madrid think there's a future for him at the Santiago Bernabeu. But it's an interesting move because I wasn't too sure that they needed another attacking midfield player, somebody that can operate in the wide positions if needed. So there's a lot of speculation that Jesus joining Borussia Dortmund could then be the make weight for Jadon Sancho going in the other direction. And it isn't, of course, fans love to put 2 and 2 together and get 375. And I enjoyed a rat race. Everybody knows that I enjoy the transfer to and throwing. So I enjoy the kind of speculation that surrounds it. I'm just not convinced with this. I'm just not convinced if this is a big enough deal for Dortmund that would then suggest that Sancho's coming to Manchester United off the back of this. I just don't. I hope that it's true, and I hope that any moment now, any second now, Jadon Sancho news blows up. One bit of news just broke on Sky Sports, actually, is that Man United have asked for more time to consider their decision on Douglas Costa. That's an interesting one. Why are we asking for more time? Is that we're weighing up other options apart from Douglas Costa? Are we still waiting on the Jadon Sancho deal? Of course, that would be my suggestion here. We spoke about it with KJ on the show yesterday, that I would be very frustrated at Man United if they just went hell for leather and went straight in for an alternative with 5, 6, 7 weeks of the transfer window remaining. I almost feel as well that even if we sign any kind of alternative on a permanent basis this summer, we're conceding defeat. We're conceding defeat for a player that has such a high ceiling and such a long future. It worries me in terms of doing that and getting that done. I feel that's the concern in relation to that. But Jadon Sancho to Man United, it is still on. It is still alive. There have been no major developments over the past 2 or 3 days. The Mail reported yesterday evening that conversations are still ongoing between United and the intermediary in Dortmund. But I wouldn't. My message is this, as I say, I had a fair number of DMs this morning. A lot of people talking about Jesus leaving Real Madrid for 2 years, going to Dortmund. What could this mean? In my opinion, very little. In my opinion, very, very little indeed in relation to that deal. In other news, there's an article that's emerged today that says Man United face a potential tug of war in their battle to sign Ajax star Donny van de Beek. That is because incoming Barcelona boss Ronald Koeman has identified Van der Beek as a priority signing should he, as expected, take the reins at the Nou Camp. Those kind of stories are going to do the rounds whenever you get a new manager. And remember, it's funny really how Real Madrid have been the front runners for him, but that doesn't sell British newspapers to say United target might end up going Barcelona. He's primarily a Real Madrid target. United have had muted interest around him, but of course that won't sell newspapers. Joe Hart news. I mean, an interesting one yesterday, joining Tottenham. What are people's thoughts on that? I was very surprised, if I'm honest, that he joined. I didn't expect it for a single second. It wasn't even something that was on anybody's radar, but there we go. This is an interesting one this morning as well that's come out in The Guardian. Liverpool won't pay the asking price that Bayern Munich could put up of 30 million euros. And do you know what's really interesting? I kind of expect that one to come to a conclusion fairly soon after Bayern Munich's Champions League escapade. But who knows? Wouldn't it be interesting if that one was to protrude for another 3, 4, 5 weeks, haggling over price? I would love to see the reaction from media outlets and fans, because there is this element of Man United are consistently attacked for not getting deals done quickly. Yet when everybody else tries to negotiate a price down, it's seen as being frugal, professional, wonderful negotiators, not being dragged over the coals. The perception is a reality in life sometimes. How you're perceived, it can be given out as reality, and it's your job to change it. But there are also times where your perception can be an absolute fallacy, can be an absolute nonsense, and you just spend all your time looking for confirmation bias, looking for reasons to not change your mind, to not make the right decisions, to not move on with your life, to not take a risk, to not do what you really want to do. So we seek confirmation bias, and we seek these little quantums of solace that make us feel more comfortable, that confirm what we, not so much even what we believe, but confirm what we want to believe, because we're too scared of stepping outside of our comfort zones. And that's very much what I see here in these situations. More news that Arsenal are edging closer to signing Lille defender Gabriel, according to the Times. We've got a super chat here from Kevin who says, Terry, opinion, Sancho for 120 million or Van der Beek for 40 million, Thomas Partey for 43 million, and the Monaco centre-back that's been mentioned for 40 mil. Oh, if you gave me those two options, if I'm being honest, brother, I'm picking Sancho still. I'm going to stand by my original. I'm still picking Sancho in relation to that. The other players you mentioned are brilliant, but there's more of them available that you can get in January and then later on next year, in my opinion. Do me a big favor, everyone who's tuning in. Please smash the like button. Please share this on your social media streams, and also download the app as well. Now, I know this is going to be a troll potentially, because it's called Elite KJ twice, but we'll see. Hello, welcome to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say? Hello? No, see, no speaking, so that guy gets blocked. See, you can't use KJ's name like that and then think I'm not going to notice, bruv. Come on. Be better, be stronger in relation to that. So that was a weird one. That was a very, very weird one indeed. But there we go. Let's do some more of these comments here. O'Shea Johnson phoning up. O'Shea Johnson, welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, signal's a little bit off, but I can just hear you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you touched on the whole Thiago deal, and controversial. I don't think, for me, right, this whole money situation with Liverpool is starting to get on my nerves.
Why?
And that's why I said controversial. There's been rumors circulating, and a few other YouTube Liverpool fans that have YouTube channels have talked about this as well. That it isn't a case of CV19 has completely not bankrupted us, but taken away our ability to spend. It's a case of FSG don't want to be seen to spend money at Red Sox, and I believe it is something along those lines. And the reason why, I'll tell you why I think that. Last season we spent 9.6 million after winning the Champions League, right? And I don't think this season we were planning to spend a lot of money. I think we would have got Werner, but I don't think, 150 million, I think you get for winning the Champions League, and I think you get the same amount of money for winning the Premier League. That doesn't even mention the Nike deal and all the sponsors and all TV money we've made as well.
Yeah.
54 million on Werner isn't a lot of money, but he's a good player. But apart from Werner, I don't think we were planning to spend any money. And when you look at how FSG have run the club, we've spent a lot of money, but a lot of that came from Coutinho's sale, and we bought players that we crucially needed. Alisson, Van Dijk, those were players that we crucially needed. I don't know. I don't believe it's CV19. And the reason why I say that, Terry, is because, I know Liverpool isn't the richest club in the world, but there doesn't seem to be any other club in Europe on the level that Liverpool are in terms of success that have been affected to this point. Yep. United looking to be spending 120 million on one player. City looking to be spending upwards of 200 million. Even Arsenal looking to be spending 40 million on Partey, Gabriel, even apparently a Coutinho deal, going to renew Aubameyang's contract. So Chelsea is going to probably spend over 150 million on players. You're telling me Liverpool, who have been more successful in recent years than all those clubs mentioned, are so broke from 3 months of no football that we can't even go out and splash 30 million up front for a player? Come on.
So, on your point there, you're absolutely on the money. I've said this for months now. Liverpool fans I back Liverpool fans for going along with the propaganda because they back their team. But this notion that you didn't get Werner because it was almost pushed out as this sort of liberal socialism. Oh my God, how amazing is Klopp and Liverpool that we won't spend large amounts of money because of the global pandemic, because it just wouldn't be right from a social, economical standpoint.
Yeah.
Like people bought into that, like guy was Jesus standing, giving a mount on the, giving a sermon from the mount. Do you know what I mean? Like I just sort of sat there and thought, none of you believe that. None of you believe it. I think what Liverpool are doing is being frugal with their money. I think Liverpool, and it made sense back in April, May time, June time to say this because we didn't know the lie of the land there from the pandemic situation. So it made sense to say, well, maybe we don't spend big and we save our money because if this forthcoming season gets shut down for 2, 3, 4 months because of a second wave, then we haven't committed any further finances out. Our rivals could actually cripple themselves by signing people this summer. We've still got the best squad in England. And then from next season, we'll have this financial clout over everybody else because we didn't spend now. So there is that is one element of an argument where I say it makes sense. My view would then be, say that then. Don't try and make it. The only reason why I'm starting to disbelieve that that's their actual thought is that would make, if you come at your fans and said, look, we think we've got the best squad out there. We're going to try and add a few numbers here and there, but we still think we can win the league. We don't want to take any risks by overspending in a situation where we don't know yet what's going to happen. Will the season be shut down again? When the gates are going to open again? We still think we can win the league. That kind of gives a message of it's a strategic plan that may or may not come off, because if by like November the gates are open, the season goes through fully and everyone makes their money back, then Liverpool's decision not to spend falls down. But I'll finish my point on there, but I make you absolutely right on this. And this negotiating over £3 or £4 million or million euros with Bayern Munich is mental. If Thiago's available for 30 million euros, snap him up. He comes in and improves your team like
Yeah,
in midfield to
yeah,
next.
definitely.
He's your best midfielder technically if he signs by a long way. It's a madness. Go on, mate. You were going to say something, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, there was three, I don't want to say theories, but there was three rumors or thoughts to what was going on with Liverpool. And the first one I heard was that apparently it had nothing to do with Liverpool not being able to offer Werner game time, or Chelsea had a better deal. One of the rumors I heard was that FSG told Klopp no. Klopp wanted Werner and FSG said no. Um, don't know if that is strictly true, because I think there is a lot of credible evidence to show that we did try to sign him, or we did put a bid in. The second one, which is what I personally believe, is that CV19 has come as like what's the word I'm looking for, when you hide behind something, when you get an opportunity to hide behind something, like a cover. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but it's
Yeah.
like a cover. And the reason why I say this, and I tried to explain this to other Liverpool fans that didn't get it, I said you need to, don't look at it with tunnel vision. You need to look at it, the whole thing, and analyze it. Last season, we didn't spend any money. After winning the Champions League, we didn't spend any money. Now, although we've gone on to win the Premier League and we had the belief that we were going to push forward, if you was a betting man, nobody would have said, after finishing on 97 points and still not winning the league, there's no way Liverpool are then going to beat Manchester City the next season and win the league. So the fact is, with all that being said, any intelligent owner would think to themselves, we need to go out and buy players. And we didn't. We signed Minamino, Sepp van der Berg, Harvey Elliott, and we didn't. That is what I believe. I believe that we weren't planning to spend any money this summer. And COVID-19 has come as a cover and a saving grace for them to hide behind and go, we've got no money, because it's ridiculous. No other club is being, this isn't happening.
Mate, yeah, you've got money. The one thing we can agree on, we can put the theories aside. You've got money. Not only has everybody got money, even though everybody's lost some, everybody's still got some, and it's relative because the market is probably going to shrink at the same time. So the outgoings are reduced at the same time as the ingoings. So you might look. The point I made to somebody is Man United might lose £25 million of income, match day income, for the games being behind closed doors, but that isn't how much profit we lose. Because say we make our turnover is £200 million of income. Sorry, £2 million of income on a match day. How much expenditure do we have on that? And that's the point I say to people. It might cost us 1.2 million to run a match day. So actually, we're down £800,000 per match day. People look at they're looking at the income versus the profitability on a match day. Secondly, Liverpool have just started this new Nike deal. You now get 20% commission on every single piece of Liverpool branded Nike merchandise you sell. Now,
and I've contributed to that with a new Liverpool shirt I bought the other day.
And how much that shirt cost?
84.99.
So look at that. 16, 17 pound of that goes straight into the bank account of Liverpool. And I wonder, globally, you must have sold 1 million
already.
Easy. Like, you must have sold 1 million shirts globally already.
Shirts only been out a week.
Exactly. So that's 60 odd million pound of income. 20% of that, right, which is 12 million pound, goes into Liverpool. Now, that's almost that just in the first week. You probably
I think somebody done the maths in it, and it was about 30 million a year we could be looking to get from this Nike deal.
And that's commission on top of the lump sum they already paid you. Do you get where I'm coming from? And there's money to be made on this. And if clubs really want to, I've said it before, if Liverpool release tomorrow like a members only thing on YouTube, where you get exclusive interviews and you get things that no one else, not even Sky and BT, get. You could probably get 500,000 people to sign up at £2-3 a month. Like, you can make this money back. The money side of it, for me, it's just weird, man. It's weird.
Can I just?
It's weird. Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Sorry. Just before I go, because I know obviously it's not gonna be an overly long stream, but just before I go, I want your thoughts on this. And before all the people in the comments say you're deluded, this is never going to happen. This is just a thought and a theory based off the past year and a half, right? And a lot of people have been saying this, and wishful thinking deep down in my soul. So don't kill my dream, Terry, what I'm about to say, right? A lot of rumors and wishful thinking I've heard is that the reason why we're not going to be spending a lot of money this season is because we're trying to line up with this Nike deal, hashtag Mbappe 2021.
No, so I had to laugh. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Have you ever seen our video on Mbappe to Liverpool that we did with one of the best financial minds out there? I'm trying to get Kieran and Dr. Rob back on the show. I'm just trying to find time.
I will check it out, though.
Go check. If you search it, just put in Mbappe Liverpool Football Terrace, you'll see it. It talks about the affordability of it and how Liverpool can afford it, and how actually in year one, it would only cost you between, say, 50 and 60 million pounds as an outgoing. And this is also the thing I would say to Liverpool fans. I don't think you're wrong in there could be an attempt to try and lure him to Liverpool Football Club. And if that's the case, then everybody would forgive not spending this summer. The problem that you have is you can't actually go out and say that's what we're doing. And I think that's where football fans have got to be a little more relaxed about these situations, because there's often, and we all do it, and I've done it in the past, where we all just, I want it done, I want it, that instant gratification, I want this now. Yeah. If Liverpool fans were told in secret, right, listen, we're not going to sign anyone this summer, but it gives us a 90% chance of getting Mbappe next year. You got to remember, if Mbappe comes in, it's either Mane or Salah that's leaving. So Mbappe might cost you 250 million pounds. However,
that's likely to happen. I can see that happening.
Yeah, but you can raise, as long as they're good this season, you could easily raise 150 million pounds for the sale of those guys. So then, in terms of so that would give you an extra 150 million pounds of income coming in, right? Which increases your turnover. It then gives you that room to go, okay, well, we can spend the 100 million. You know, it's only an additional 100 million pounds we're spending because the income has now increased, as an example. And I think that's what's really important there, mate. But we've added Amir to this call. You can stay on, O'Shea. Amir's with us. What do you want to say, bro?
I was just catching up on the Liverpool talk, but I missed the Sancho update. So what were we saying about Sancho?
So Sancho, essentially, I'm just trying to say that there isn't anything major. We know that man like Jan has tweeted some comments from one of the Dortmund coaches talking about how Sancho is on his way to being a grown-up, how he handles the media pressure well. We know there's always going to be big headlines. There's nothing really in it, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of noise circulating around Sancho, but, you know, everyone's trying to connect the Reinier Jesus move to Dortmund and saying that means he's going to go the other way. I think I'm at a point now where I'm not getting drawn into any, what does this mean? If I said it last week, yes, he trained alone by himself. What does this mean? Yes, he posted a picture of London. What does that mean? Like, I think we're reading too much into this. Man United and Dortmund are still in negotiations. There's still at loggerheads over the breakdown of how this is going to be paid. I am now starting to get the feeling that this will protrude right through until near deadline day. But there isn't a major update. And then we got on to talking about Liverpool, Thiago, and their money. But yeah, I'd like your views and opinions, mate.
Okay, so yeah, with Sancho, I think I just want to reiterate something I said about a week ago on this channel. Pretty much that United's position of being a dominant force in the transfer market is something that I'd far more desire as a United fan than landing a couple of marquee signings every other couple of windows. Maintaining yourself as a dominant position, not getting taken for a mug, not paying over the odds like we have over in the past, and for players that are just pure mercenaries as opposed to really want to play for the badge on their chest. These are the things that hold far more weight as a United fan, to me personally anyway, than being able to sign off the big Di Maria, the Falcao, these names. So yeah, from that position, I'm happy for it to take the time that it requires, even if it goes up to the window and to the deadline day itself. Bearing in mind, yes, the season would have started and would have played some games without Sancho. It would show every player, so every man, it would show everyone as a football fan why we need Sancho, because our team is obviously lacking that creative outlet on the right hand side. He's obviously a massive upgrade on Dan James. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's so many reasons why we need a Sancho, but I'd still far away the running of the club over all of them reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Opinion. Interesting. Man like Jan has come out. He was somebody tweeting him a few hours ago saying, any updates on Sancho? He says, nothing new so far, but I'm in Germany today and I will find out. Remember, Man like Jan is going to be on the Football Terrace on Friday morning. So what I want you all to do between now and then, any transfer stories that you want updates on, any transfer stories that you want to hear more about, send us some DMs, send us some messages, and I'll have a chat with Jan, obviously the day before, so he can collate his information. We're going to go through that with you. We'll be doing that stream, hopefully live on the air, and that'll be around, it's going to be about 10 to 10:30 a.m. Central European time on Friday. He will be on the show. So we'll be able to get some direct updates in relation to that. But I agree a lot with what you're saying. And I think this is where football fans have got to be more consistent with themselves. You know, the same man, you got to remember, this is, and O'Shea will see this as a neutral for a moment here, although he's a rival fan. The same Man United fans crying that we're not slapping the money on the table right now for Sancho, just paying it and just bending over, are the same people that cry when we pay £80 million for Maguire and we bent over and pay what they want. For me, if you cannot see, there is hypocrisy in your methodology, in your integrity, in your thought process, in your logic. However, how these people justify their hypocrisy is, well, I want Sancho and I didn't really want Maguire, but that isn't the point, because your personal feelings towards a signing have no bearing upon your morality and the way you treat people. And I say that all the time when you talk about, you know, you'll always get this situation where, like, I see it in politics, we need to treat female politicians in a particular way, and I'm like, no, you mean treat the female politicians that share the same beliefs as you in a particular way. The ones that don't, it's open season on them. So do you get where I'm coming from? We have this notion of, these are my morals, this is how I want to treat everybody, but only if these people fit in my box, only if these people are like me in mind, body, and soul. And I find these people a bit of a problem, if I'm being honest. And of course, that's the attitude these people have in life. So of course, it's going to absorb itself into sport, because we're just a reflection of society. Does that make sense? I watched a film yesterday called Quadrophenia. I've never watched it. Have you always heard of Quadrophenia?
No,
I watched it.
I say watch it and then research what it's about. It's about the mods and rockers in the UK, and it was essentially two groups of people with different cultural ideologies. The rockers were more into their rock music. They drove proper motorbikes, wore leathers, the greaser look. The kind of, remember, like Grease, like John Travolta Grease look? That's what they look like. And then you had the mods, and the mods just pretty much like they were all fans, like they, you know, like modern day Oasis fans. That makes sense. Like sort of with the way they dress, it was more stylish. They wore suits, but they had sort of the more floppy hair. They listened to The Who and things like this. But they used to fight and clash and kick off with each other and smash up towns and all sorts of things, right? They look like football hooligans, right? And it's this sort of, the reason why it's a very interesting thing to look at is that through society, there's always been groups of people that feel underprivileged, underrepresented, undermanaged, that go off and do these things. Like, things haven't really changed. But of course, that type of behavior eventually found itself in football. So football hooligans are always the ones that go, oh, it's football that made people like this. Football didn't make anybody want to fight in the street and smash places up. Society does it. And I'm now seeing it from a more of a social media point of view. And do you get where I'm coming from? There's almost this element of the way people behave in society and the way they behave in politics and the way they behave is creeping itself into this area of football now, in terms of how people support teams, the way they view things. It's a very interesting film, made in the 70s. Ray Winston makes his debut actually as an actor, which is, anyway, I know I'm really digressing here, but I see that all the time when it comes to football now. O'Shea, you said it many times, instant gratification. We want it now. We don't have any patience. That's society. No one has patience anymore. Everybody wants to be the CEO of a business on day one. It's mad.
Unfortunately, that's not going to change, because that is society. It's not going to change in football, because that is the way the world is, and you're not going to change 7 billion people. Do you know what I mean? So we can try different things. You know, you've got the Klopps, the Guardiolas, and certain managers that come in and put their stamp and say, look, we're not having any of this. We're not having any divas. We're not having any of that. But essentially, you're going to have the odd Jesse Lingard and Pogba and Bellerin in your club that would rather do a fashion shoot than play football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would rather act like a diva because that's the way society is. We want instant gratification. It's about clout. It's about this. It's about that. And that's not going to change. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's not going to. Nothing is.
No, I do agree, and I completely agree with large parts of what you say there. And it's just, as you say, it's filtering through that. Now, I was saying yesterday, I was chatting to AGT from the COP TV, and we were sort of talking about United going out against Sevilla, and I was saying that we then got on to talking about how like some journalists now, they're not journalists anymore. They go for the quick wins. So See, the amount of journalists I see posting memes and taking the mick out of Maguire because supposedly he was marking air and sort of the no-look defending when he looked back to check. You know, he was clearly checking where the guy he was marking was to make sure the ball couldn't be cut back to him. But yet that gets twisted by professional sports journalists who went to university, spent however many hundreds of thousands of pounds becoming qualified, for them just to meme and Mickey take now, rather than actually writing and doing investigative articles, actually trying to educate the masses on the sport, if that makes sense, because it's just quicker and easier to do. Now, there are lots of brilliant journalists out there that are fantastic, and I'm not putting them all. You know, Daniel Harris that comes on, you know, he put a bit of a tweet out the other day. He spent months working on an article all about a football player, and he says no one even cares about this article anymore because it's educational to read this. It's just about a football player, how he got to where he was, how he lived his life. I read it and I was like, wow, it's so insightful and brilliant because it was proper journalism. It was insightful. It was thought-provoking. It would make you understand the psyche of football players more. It's what every football fan should be reading. But no, what we actually want is a meme of Harry Maguire marking one of his own players, which we all know he wasn't even doing. But do you get where I'm coming from? And I think that all of this feeds into this thing now. It's like I saw like publications yesterday, like taking the mick out of Man United because they haven't signed anybody yet. And then the reaction was anger in the comments. And it's like, you're all weird. Like, I find it all very, very strange now. But it's that mentality now where if a big publication comes out and says United are dragging their feet, they're not going to sign anybody. And then there's a meme of somebody. It's just how it is. And I think all of that feeds into this kind of reactionary hyperbole world that we live in. But there we go. It's one of them things. Boys, I appreciate you both coming on.
Thanks.
No worries. I'll speak to you both again soon. Take care, gents. Thank you. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, really, really appreciate it. Please smash that like button. We actually, on the Flick app, our personalized Football Terrace emoji is almost ready. You can see it there. I'm gonna press play, right? Is that play? Does it work? No. This is what it looks like. Can you see it? That's our personalized emoji that's going to be on the app very, very soon. So make sure you get the app downloaded right now. By this evening, it's going to be out. Got another caller here, United We Stand, who wants to come on. We'll see what's got to be said. United We Stand, what do you want to say? Hello?
Hello, Terry, can you hear me?
Yeah, what do you want to say very quickly? We're ending the show. What's your thoughts, mate?
I just want to clear up the situation of De Gea and Henderson.
Very quickly, make your point.
If De Gea has a good season next season,
Yep.
What should we do with Henderson? We should cash him out, or what should we do?
If De Gea has a really good season, then you have to make that decision, and it might mean cashing. I think what we do is we give Henderson a new deal. We use Henderson and De Gea next season, and we make them push each other hard. If we get the best back out of David De Gea and he looks like he's consistent, then I think we then, because we've got a long deal, we look at then loaning Henderson out as an example for another year to see whether De Gea can maintain his form. However, if next season David De Gea's form doesn't improve dramatically and the volume of mistakes doesn't improve, that doesn't dissipate, then for the 21-22 season, I would look to bring Henderson in. That would be my thoughts on that, mate. But listen, I thank you and I appreciate you calling the show and having your say. Everyone who's tuned in today, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Get Flick downloaded now. Really, really important to us that you get that done. And